Some doors are locked not to keep you out, but to guide you somewhere greater. What's happening, Ascenders? You ever notice that the universe doesn't block you with walls? It tests you with detours, especially when you're walking the Sigma path, independent, sovereign, unstoppable. Then, out of nowhere, she shows up, the one person you can't seem to reach, the one who stirs something inside you, but slips through your fingers no matter what you do. This isn't random. This is cosmic architecture, a reality stress test. And guess what? It's not about her, it's about you. Today, we're decoding this phenomenon with brutal clarity. No fairy tales, no fluff, just the real reason the universe sends Sigma males, the one they can't have, and why it matters more than you think. Buckle up. We're about to break this open, one layer at a time. If you're not here to live on autopilot, subscribe right now. This channel is for builders, breakers, and thinkers. You're not watching Sigma Ascends, you are Sigma Ascends. 1. The cosmic gatekeeper phenomenon. Every Sigma will, at some point, encounter a woman he can't have, not because he's lacking, but because he's being tested. This person isn't just another chapter in your story. She's the gatekeeper. Her role, to block access until you're ready for the next level. This might sound metaphysical, but think about it. Every time you've grown, there's been a threshold, a situation that forced you to either level up or stay stagnant. That woman, the one who feels just out of reach, isn't rejecting you. She's there to reflect something you haven't mastered yet. Maybe it's emotional detachment, maybe it's purpose over passion, maybe it's boundaries. But she's the test. And unlike traditional tests, this one doesn't have clear rules. She might show up during your grind phase when you're focused, tuned in, building. Her presence disrupts your flow. Suddenly, your mind starts drifting. Your routine slips. The question becomes, will you let her presence define your direction? Here's the twist. She's not meant to be yours. She's a construct of contrast, put there by the universe to check if you'll abandon your mission for momentary fantasy. If you chase her, you delay your rise. If you understand her purpose and hold the line, you ascend. This point isn't about bitterness or fear of vulnerability, it's about clarity. You weren't denied love, you were handed a key. The gate she guards leads to the next evolution of your mind, your mission, your legacy. Only those who pass the test get through. 2. The phantom mirror effect. The woman you can't have is more than a desire. She's a mirror, one that doesn't reflect your face, but your unfinished business. Let's break that down. When she enters your world, it's not just physical attraction or emotional chemistry. It's something deeper. It feels like destiny, like recognition, that intensity, that familiarity. That's not because she's your missing piece. It's because she reflects a part of you you haven't yet integrated. It might be the younger version of you, the one still seeking validation. It might be your suppressed ambition, the one you've put aside for survival. Or maybe she's a walking reminder of who you used to be, or who you wish you could be if you weren't so focused on the grind. This is why the connection feels spiritual. It's why her absence lingers. You didn't lose her. You lost access to that version of yourself. And the more you chase her, the further you drift from your current self. Let's go deeper. What if she's not reflecting your potential but your pain? What if the pull you feel is actually your trauma calling home? Many Sigmas carry emotional residue from a lifetime of self-reliance. The unavailable woman taps into that ache. She doesn't create it, she activates it. And here's the trap. When a Sigma sees his reflection in someone else, he mistakes it for connection. But real growth isn't found in that reflection. It's found in integration, in owning those parts of yourself instead of chasing them externally. The phantom mirror is dangerous because it feels real, but it's not her you're after. It's wholeness, and that can't be found in someone else, not even her. 3. Desire as distraction. Desire is not always a signal of destiny. Sometimes it's a distraction disguised as desire, a mental virus running counter to your mission. For Sigmas, focus is sacred. Every day is a battle for mental clarity. But when the one you can't have enters your orbit, that clarity fractures. Thoughts loop, productivity slips. You start reworking your reality around someone who isn't even present in it. Why? Because the universe doesn't just test your discipline with hardship, it tests it with temptation. This woman is often surrounded by chaos, entangled pasts, emotional volatility, unclear intentions. Her world doesn't match yours, it interrupts yours. But she comes wrapped in intrigue, softness, and allure. You think, maybe just this once, maybe she's different, maybe she's the exception. She's not. She's the distraction tech built into the simulation. Her presence is engineered to hijack your neural wiring, your reward system. You begin thinking in what-ifs. You imagine outcomes. But none of it is real. It's mental projection, not shared direction. This isn't to say she's malicious. In fact, she may be completely unaware. But that doesn't matter. The effect is the same. Here's what you must understand. Desire can be weaponized, not by her, but by your own unconscious mind. The part of you that wants escape, the part that's tired of walking alone, the part that's afraid of never being truly seen. The universe lets her in to see if you'll still choose your path over your craving. Will you remain disciplined? Will you stay mission-locked? Will you treat your mind as sacred ground, or rent it out to someone who hasn't earned it? Every time you choose clarity over chaos, purpose over fantasy, you increase your signal strength. You become more aligned with your future self. You become less susceptible to distraction tech, and that's the real win. So ask yourself, is this love, or is this interference? The glitch in your hero code. Let's talk software, because every Sigma male runs on an internal operating system, a personal code, discipline, logic, self-sovereignty. But even the best code has glitches, weaknesses baked into the system. And that one woman you can't have, she's the glitch reveal. You've built your world on strength, independence, control. But she gets through. She bypasses your firewall, not by force, but by resonance. She activates a line of code that's still vulnerable. Suddenly you feel uncertain. You rationalize irrational behavior. You pause your mission. This isn't a normal connection. It's a stress test on your self-concept. She doesn't just break your focus, she rewrites it. Your mind goes from output to outcome, from internal to external, from power to pursuit. Let's go deeper. Why does she feel like such an exception? Because she reflects a blind spot in your emotional coding. The glitch might be your need to prove you're lovable without needing anyone, your belief that achievement makes you worthy of affection, your habit of romanticizing those who seem emotionally unavailable because you secretly feel the same. These patterns live beneath your logic. She exposes them, not with words, but with her presence. Now here's the kicker. That glitch isn't a flaw. It's a feature, but only if you use it. You don't fix a software bug by ignoring it. You fix it by running diagnostics. You study the behavior. You update the code. That means asking hard questions. Why do I crave this specific person? What story am I telling myself about her? Would I want her if she wanted me? Or is this all about the chase? If your attraction is rooted in fantasy, ego, or projection, that's the glitch, and it's showing you where you need to evolve. Most men will double down. They'll chase. They'll obsess. They'll try to force the code to work. But a Sigma? He rewrites it. The one you can't have isn't here to break you. She's here to upgrade you. When you master this, you stop reacting and start observing. You stop chasing and start refining. You stop glitching and start ascending. 5. Magnetic imbalance theory. Let's talk about energy, not in the mystical sense, but in terms of magnetic polarity. You know that overwhelming pull you feel towards someone you can't have. That energy that keeps you awake at night, questioning your own judgment? That's not love. That's a magnetic imbalance. Sigmas operate on a unique current: internal drive, solitude-powered growth, and self-validation. So when someone shows up who sparks that deep, almost gravitational connection, it feels important. It feels like a sign. But energy doesn't lie. And just because it's intense doesn't mean it's aligned. Magnetic imbalance occurs when attraction overrides logic. It's when one side gives more weight to the emotional pull, while the other remains unaffected, unavailable, or even unaware. You feel consumed. She feels casual. That's not connection. That's energetic asymmetry. Why does this happen? Because you're evolving. You're becoming rare. And rare attracts curiosity. You might have built yourself into a fortress, but your energy still emits a signal, a frequency others detect. Sometimes people tap into that without realizing they're triggering imbalance. You start orbiting each other, but not equally. She's an asteroid. You're a planet. Different mass, different pull. And here's the trap. When your emotional body starts to override your logical framework, you begin compromising your blueprint. You second-guess your routines. You lower your frequency to meet her where she is. But she's not rising. She's observing. You're engaging. She's drifting. This is the imbalance, and it destroys momentum. Now let's take this deeper. What if she was never meant to stay? What if her only role was to trigger a frequency check, to show you where your vibration still wavers, where your focus still fractures, where your self-worth still seeks external approval? If the connection is one-sided, it's not real. It's emotional echo, not emotional resonance. She's not intentionally misleading. She's simply on a different station. You're tuned to FM. She's still on AM. Static fills the space where signal should live, and chasing that static only drains your battery. You begin interpreting confusion as depth, distance as mystery, and inconsistency as potential. But the Sigma doesn't beg to be heard. He broadcasts clearly. He doesn't force alignment. He attracts it. That's why imbalance isn't a curse. It's a calibration tool. Let her go. Let the signal fade. When the polarity is equal, the pull will be mutual. Until then, walk forward, not toward her, but toward equilibrium, the upgrade or crash mechanism. Let's strip away the emotion and look at what's actually happening when she shows up in your life. You're building, grinding, leveling up. You're in the thick of self-discipline, routines, workouts, silence, solitude. Then she arrives. Maybe she's from your past. Maybe she's a new force. Either way, she hits you at full velocity. The feeling? Unreal. The timing? Disastrous. Why? Because you're at the edge of a breakthrough. The universe doesn't just challenge you with difficulty. It challenges you with opportunity wrapped in sabotage. This woman represents the upgrade or crash moment. She's not a relationship. She's a pressure point. Her presence means your system is either about to level up or collapse. Think about it. How many times have you been on the verge of something major, a business launch, a fitness milestone, a creative rebirth, and suddenly she shows up? She doesn't look like a test. She looks like rest, relief, maybe even love. But underneath, she's a stress load. The crash happens when you shift your priority from growth to gratification, from building yourself to chasing someone who isn't on the same mission. You crash not because she's toxic, but because you paused your upgrade for temporary comfort. Here's how the crash feels. You stop doing your morning routine. You start overthinking every text. You trade your power for proximity. Sound familiar? But the upgrade, that's on the other side of restraint. When you resist chasing, you redirect that intensity into your own evolution. You upgrade your mental firmware. You gain clarity, sharpness, power. The tension transforms into acceleration. This isn't about hating her. It's about recognizing the pattern. She's the spark that lights the fuse, not the fire that sustains your purpose. Now here's the heavy truth. The Sigma path is lonely for a reason. The universe clears your lane, not because no one deserves you, but because no one should distract you until you've become the man you're meant to be. This mechanism is brutal, but beautiful. It burns away weakness. If you survive the test, you're no longer led by emotion, you wield it. You no longer chase the one, you attract the right ones because you stayed on path. So next time the universe hands you that temptation, remember, it's not about winning her, it's about winning you. Choose upgrade, let crash die in the dust. 7. The myth of missing out. Let's break a dangerous illusion, the idea that you've missed out on something or someone simply because it didn't last. She was magnetic, she was rare. Maybe she even seemed perfect. And when it didn't work, or worse, never started, you felt that hollow ache. The mind floods with questions. What if I'd tried harder? What if the timing was different? What if she was the one? Stop. That feeling. That's the myth of missing out, a psychological trap engineered to slow your momentum. The mind mistakes emotional intensity for destiny. And when that intensity goes unfulfilled, it invents a false narrative. This must have been something special. But let's be cold for a second. If she was meant for your path, she wouldn't have derailed it. She would have moved with you, not against your rhythm, not outside your mission. If she's gone, unavailable, or playing games, it's not a loss, it's a protection. Most men don't want to hear this. They romanticize the idea of the one that got away. But Sigmas don't chase ghosts. We analyze data. We look at patterns. And the pattern here is simple. When something is meant to be in your life, it adds to your clarity, not confusion. It sharpens your edge, doesn't dull it. It makes you stronger, not more emotional. But the myth of missing out is clever. It whispers in your ear late at night. It replays memories, reimagines conversations, reconstructs her as someone better than she was. You forget the red flags. You remember the butterflies. And just like that, you trap yourself in emotional purgatory. Here's what you have to remember. Fantasy is seductive because it's safe. The mind prefers to miss what it never fully had because you never saw it fall apart. There's no closure, only speculation. And speculation is addictive. But here's the pivot. Every time you fall for this myth, you give away your momentum. You start walking backward in a life that only moves forward. So what do? You ground yourself in facts, not feelings. You remind yourself that rejection is redirection. You stop mourning what wasn't real and double down on what is. Your growth, your mission, your purpose. The one you can't have wasn't yours by mistake. She was the final illusion before your real evolution. Stop seeing her as a loss. Start seeing her as the last checkpoint before freedom. You didn't miss out. You got out. 8. Shadow sink phenomenon. This one goes deep. And it's one most men, especially Sigmas, never realize until it's too late. The woman you can't have. She's not just desirable. She's familiar. You feel drawn to her in a way that defies logic, like you've known her before, like she sees you, understands you, completes something in you. But here's the truth. It's not her that you're connected to. It's your shadow, the unconscious part of you that she activates. This is the shadow sink phenomenon. Your shadow holds everything you suppress: insecurity, loneliness, rage, desire for validation, fear of intimacy. As a Sigma, you're used to burying those feelings under discipline and solitude. But they don't vanish. They wait. And when someone comes along who unconsciously reflects that energy, even in subtle ways, the sink happens. You feel locked in, addicted, hypnotized. She might not even do anything exceptional. She just exists in a way that triggers the emotional residue you've buried. And suddenly you're seen, not by her, but by your own unmet parts. And because we mistake recognition for resonance, we chase her, obsess, fantasize, spiral. But here's the kicker. Your attraction to her has nothing to do with her as a person. It's a mirror event. She represents a part of you that's trying to come home. Let's unpack that. Maybe she's emotionally unavailable, and so are you. You just hide it better. Maybe she's impulsive, and you've buried your own desire for chaos under structure. Maybe she's deeply insecure, and you're tired of being the strong one all the time. In her chaos, you feel release. In her vulnerability, you feel seen. But that sync, it's toxic, because you're not connecting, you're projecting. Until you face your shadow, you'll keep chasing people who reflect it. And the more powerful your energy, the more intense the attraction becomes. It's not love, it's a psychological echo chamber. This is why Sigmas get stuck. They think they've found someone rare, but what they've really found is a portal into their own unfinished emotional business. So what's the solution? You sit with the mirror. You confront the parts of yourself you've ignored. You stop blaming her for the obsession and start owning what she's reflecting. This is shadow work, and it's brutal, but it's also liberation. When you stop syncing with your shadow through others, you stop needing people to complete you. You stop confusing pain for passion. You stop calling wounds chemistry. The woman you can't have was never about her. She was about you, the parts you've hidden, the emotions you've dodged, the truths you've buried. Face them, and you'll never fall for the illusion again. 9. The distraction. Dressed as destiny. Let's make something clear. Not everything that feels right is meant to stay. That one woman who seemed made for you, the one who entered your life like a cosmic accident, a flawless intersection of timing and chemistry, she might have felt like destiny. But that feeling, that lightning in the veins moment, it was a trap, a distraction, dressed up like purpose. This is the final test for the Sigma. Can you distinguish fate from fiction? She didn't arrive to love you. She arrived to challenge the one thing that defines the Sigma male, your focus. You were on your mission, clear, unshaken. Then she appeared, and your mind, your discipline, your emotional core, suddenly misfiring. You're planning your future with someone who hasn't even committed to the present. You're bending your schedule for someone who doesn't respect her own. You're giving presence to an absence. She wasn't your soulmate. She was your lesson. Let's call it what it is, a calculated spiritual detour. She entered your reality not to walk beside you, but to test if you'd step off your path to follow a mirage. Because the universe doesn't always test you with enemies. Sometimes it sends you the almost perfect, the almost aligned, the almost right. And it waits to see, will you chase her or stay grounded in your purpose? This woman, the one you can't have, might represent 1,000 things. The peace you're seeking outside of yourself, the validation you still secretly crave, the desire to be seen without having to explain who you are. But none of those are her responsibility. They're yours. Destiny doesn't disrupt you. It aligns with you. It doesn't confuse. It clarifies. If someone makes you second-guess your mission, they're not the path. They're the pause button. And let's be real, you weren't drawn to her only because of who she is. You were drawn to her because of how unfinished you are. That emptiness, that hunger, that's not love. That's you ignoring your own work. So here's the litmus test. If someone pulls you away from your discipline, your growth, your evolution, even if it feels electric, it's not destiny. It's a distraction, disguised, decorated, deadly. When you reject that distraction, you become untouchable. You stop being reactive and start becoming inevitable. This is your edge. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because it does. So here we are, ascenders, the end of the transmission. You've been told that when the universe sends you someone unforgettable, it's fate. That when you can't stop thinking about her, it's a sign. That when she pulls at your soul, she must be yours. But that's not Sigma truth. That's fairy tale thinking. Here's the reality. The universe sends that one person you can't have not to complete you, but to reveal where you're incomplete. She's the glitch, the mirror, the pressure point, the proof that you still have work to do. She's not your destination, she's your checkpoint. So the next time she appears, beautiful, chaotic, magnetic, you'll know better. You won't chase, you won't compromise, you won't break your mission for a maybe, because you're not here to be distracted. You're here to ascend. Keep your focus lethal, keep your boundaries armored, keep your heart open, but your mind sovereign. You're not just watching this, you're waking up through it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay sovereign, and keep building beyond the noise. This is Sigma Ascends, and you're already rising.